Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and I'm going to forego the regular intro because what we're going to cover in this particular video is not bullshit. Earlier this week, on I believe the 23rd, we lost a legend in the video game industry. Alan Stone, who was co-founder of Nintendo of America, died of cancer at the age of 71. Now, a lot of people may be thinking, well, he's not a Japanese dude. His name isn't Iwata. His name isn't fucking Miyamoto. All right? It's not Suzuki. Why the fuck should we give a fuck about this guy? Well, the truth is that Alan Stone is the co-founder of Nintendo of America. Okay? And what happened when they first established Nintendo of America, Nintendo didn't go out of their way where it was one of those things where they're like, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and open offices officially in this particular area. Alan Stone, him and his partners, they went out of their way and they opened up Nintendo of America as what they called a bootstrap company. Okay. And the whole premise of having a bootstrap company is that, hey, look, we are going to market out our services to a much larger parent company. And they're going to come to us and they're going to say, hey, we may be expanding into your territory or we may be looking at a brand new market or whatnot. We need a way in. We need somebody with their feet on the ground, all right, with their boots on the ground in that particular area, which is where the term comes from. And basically, it was up to him to sit there and figure out all the logistics and establish all the policies and procedures in accordance to everything that was happening overseas with Nintendo of Japan to set them up so that when they actually went ahead and entered into the foray of arcade machines and home consoles and everything else, he had to be the person in charge of handling everything stateside. The reason why they call it a bootstrap company is because if he didn't make it work within like the first 1 or 2 years, they would have just axed that shit altogether, okay? So the reason why he's so important, not only was he able to go ahead and bring out iconic video games like Donkey Kong or Radar Scope to the arcades, but he was also able to go ahead and lay down the foundation for the Nintendo Entertainment System to actually grab a hold of a market here in the United States. All right. I know there is a quote bouncing around in everybody's head right now that they probably want to say, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor so that you guys can go ahead and say it. You can take it off my hands. I don't have to say it. Guys, what are your thoughts on this particular one?
It's on like Donkey Kong?
Okay, that's the other phrase I was thinking of. But there's another phrase that's...
But
yeah.
Wait, well, the NES, never heard of it. No, but look, in all seriousness, he was responsible for bringing games over here from overseas. And when you think about where these games went, not just arcades, okay? Donkey Kong went to restaurants. Donkey Kong went to bars, hotels. I mean, look, this game was, Jumpman saving, it wasn't even a Princess Toadstool. It was some other woman's name which slips my mind at the moment, but the fact that happened, it changed the industry. When you really think about the early 80s and, when you had Atari and ColecoVision and the Intellivision, you had that war going on. And yes, you had a lot of things in the arcade like Pac-Man. And Donkey Kong hit, and it was just an instant hit. You had Donkey Kong. You had Popeye. I think a Beauty and the Beast game as well. That was put in the arcades, and it's like, look, this became one of the cornerstones of the gaming industry. There's not a person, as far as our generation, that doesn't know what Donkey Kong is, that hasn't played it. I don't think. Maybe people have bypassed it, maybe, but they at least know what it is. I mean, come on. The fact that he was a co-founder of Nintendo of America and he was the president and CEO at Sega at one point.
Yep.
I mean, come on. You talk about putting your stamp in gaming. It's just, man, that's all I gotta say for now.
What about you, Grey Mouse? What do you have to say? What are your thoughts off the top of your head?
How high can you get? Another video gaming icon, Alan Stone, has been taken away from us way too early. The fact that he died of cancer is bad in and itself, but he'll be remembered for being, like Reverend was saying, being the boots on the ground type of company that actually paved the way for the Nintendo, the NES, to actually have a marketing foothold here in the U.S. So you got to give respect to that. I mean, if it wasn't for him, who knows what gaming would be like, 30 years later in 2017. So yeah, it just saddens me that another iconic, video game icon just was taken away from us.
Yeah, with this particular one, I mean, it's okay. I would have to say this probably hits us as middle-aged guys when we think about it, because 2016 was really rough for celebrity deaths. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say right now, at the pace that it's going right now, with video game celebrities and legends for 2017, it is going to be really, really fucking rough this year. Because what was it? Toru Iwatani, the father of Pac-Man, he died on January 30th. Okay, Alan Stone, the guy responsible for setting up the Nintendo Entertainment Center system, Nintendo, co-founder of Nintendo of America. Not only, if you think about what Nintendo did, especially at that time, because if you want to go ahead and frame it, basically what brought about the video game crash of the early 80s, part of what brought it up was that you had a lot of people who were making games and there was no quality control. Okay, there was no third-party procedures or policies or anything like that in place. When Nintendo actually entered the foray to bring the industry back from the ashes, they knew right off the bat, hey, look, we just can't have anybody go ahead and make a game for us, okay, that doesn't have any sort of QC, it doesn't meet any sort of specifications or rules or anything like that. So we have to set up that system. Yes, I know that looking back on it now, in comparison to a lot of the third-party rules and regulations that developers have to deal with, or third-party publishers have to deal with, a lot of it was draconian. A lot of it was overbearing and overreaching. But up until that point, when the NES, they set it up with the NES, it didn't fucking exist. Okay? So literally, you have this guy, he is directly responsible in some form or manner at the fact that you didn't just get Nintendo, you didn't just get Sega, you didn't just get Atari here in the States. You also got Namco, Square, Enix, Data East, Jailco, Electronic Arts, all these other guys who are making games for companies that, for these first-party publishers that exist now. He is one of the guys who was instrumental in laying down that groundwork, And the thing that kills me, like I said, at the pace that we're going right now, is going to be very, very rough for anybody who keeps their ear to the ground or knows anything about video games in 2017 than it was for fucking celebrities and movie stars and TV stars in 2016. Okay? Because as a middle-aged guy, like we mentioned in other videos before, whenever we see a celebrity like this or somebody who's been instrumental into something that we've been, we are passionate about, it's like seeing your fucking childhood die. Okay, and that's kind of where we're at. You know, age of 71. Not only did he work as the co-founder and president of Nintendo America for multiple years, in 1994, he went ahead and he was working for Sega of America from 1994 to 2004 as CEO and also the head of the arcade division. Kind of funny how the arcade division, arcades in general, died out in the early 2000s. Okay, and then he left in 2004, so it's kind of one of those things. And he went off to go ahead and work it, on the board of other multiple technology and entertainment companies. In fact, there's a great interview that he did with the company that he was last employed with, Nanotech, which I'm actually going to leave a link to in the description below. Where he sits there and he goes ahead and he introduces himself and he talks about how he got into the industry, his biggest things that he did with Nintendo, and what he thought of working with Nintendo and Sega. And he had nothing but good things to say about working for both of them. And it's one of those things that once you get the peek behind it, the people who are actually standing behind the curtain, and just like with Toru Iwatani, if this guy wasn't around, the landscape of gaming completely is different.
If there
in
would
the
have
United
been
States,
one,
yeah,
in all honesty, look, if there would have been a landscape of gaming,
either that or we'd all be playing on Commodore or Amiga systems right now.
Well, one thing too is that, being middle-aged between 35 and 40, when things like this or when we hear news like this, it's like you mentioned earlier, Reverend, it's a piece of your childhood, a piece of your being taken away forever because, you grew up playing those particular games, being invested.
We're still playing them.
Well, no, I'm just saying, being invested in, the companies that this Alan Stone was a part of, and it's just like, he's not family or anything, but you do feel like you lost a member of your family.
It's funny because, as you say that, I covered a couple of wrestlers that recently passed away, and it's like, man, I grew up watching, it felt like they're actually a part of my existence, part of who I am. And when it has to do with wrestling or especially gaming, it's like, damn, you had your hand in creating some shit that I still play to this day, that I still talk about to this day, that was a part of my life as far as, entertainment and so on.
You mean more like playing to this very second?
In certain instances, yeah, and that's the reason why we go ahead and we bring this up. Like I said, when it comes to these particular type of videos, that whenever we do commemorating or recognizing the passing of somebody, I keep the we bullshit about nothing, because this is not nothing to us. Mm-hmm. If you're anybody, like Grey Mouse said, who's over the age of 30, if you're anybody who's actually grown up and experienced going to the arcades on a regular basis, okay, especially in the late 80s to early 90s, all the way up into the early 2000s, this is part of the fabric of your childhood, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things that we want to go ahead and recognize. It's not something that we're happy about. Oh yeah, we get to make a fucking YouTube video. No, we're not. It's not celebrating or anything like that at all. But it is something that when you think about it, it's very profound. Like I said, the landscape of the video game industry in America would be completely different if you would have failed doing that bootstrap operation for Nintendo of America. If he didn't make it work, video games completely would be different. The whole industry would be different as a whole. Before we say our final goodbyes and salutations, I do have a question, guys. Favorite version of Donkey Kong? What is it? Go.
Wait. Just in general with Donkey Kong games, or with the first revision of Donkey Kong? You got to be very specific.
Well, okay. Your favorite version of Donkey Kong as far as the original, the arcade games that were released, and if it came to home consoles, what was your favorite version of it?
Game Boy.
Which one?
The Donkey Kong that went to Game Boy.
Okay.
You know, that, I mean, I don't know if I can count Mario versus Donkey Kong in that.
I was thinking about that myself, but go ahead.
because those games were similar to the standard of Donkey Kong, period. But the original Game Boy version of Donkey Kong actually had those arcade stages and went to its own adventure with Mario doing all kinds of tricks. And they kept that for Mario versus Donkey Kong. And those two are like up here, because I'll still play those to this day.
For me, I also have two. I'd say the classic Donkey Kong from the arcade, and the more recent, not so recent, I've got to say Donkey Kong Country. It's one of my I know it's different than Donkey Kong, but it's still Donkey Kong in every sense of the word Donkey Kong. But but if I had to overall pick one, because I have fond memories of standing in the arcade playing, feeding the machine quarters about how high can you get, And I think the girl's name was Sylvia or somebody like that.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Remember.
I'd have to say, bar none, my favorite version of Donkey Kong was Donkey Kong for the ColecoVision, although that was released all the way back in 1981.
Damn.
By far. Because the thing is that as a little kid, I didn't have very many opportunities to go out to the arcade. Okay. But I will tell you, as a little kid, I was hooked on this shit from day fucking one when I figured out it was there. All right. Like I said before in other videos, I can still remember playing on dedicated Pong home consoles. And those were released in 1979. But when we finally got a hold of the Atari 2600, I played the Atari 2600 version of Donkey Kong. And it was blocky, it was ugly, and most of all, it was incomplete. But when I played the Coleco version of Donkey Kong, I swear there was one time I remember I was playing on this little portable combination radio TV. And I think the TV screen was something like 4.5 inches big, and it was black and white. It wasn't even fucking color, all right? But the ColecoVision could hook up to the little RF screws in the back. It didn't even have an RF coax cable connection. It was a fucking antenna screws, right? And I remember playing that for fucking hours. And the reason why I loved it was that it had the fucking elevator stage. The NES version didn't have it. The Atari 2600 version. But the fucking ColecoVision, it had it. And I fucking played that for hours.
And as you said, that version, I think Pauline was her name.
Yeah.
There goes. Yep.
Okay.
You looked it up. It's okay.
The Coleco, my sister owned the ColecoVision. And I had the Atari, and we had both versions. But we were steering away from the Atari version as much as humanly possible, because we were like, look, this looks and sounds very close to the arcade, minus the part where you can fall off of places. But that garbage aside, it had the elevator stage.
Yeah, it had the elevator stage.
This is why, it missed the stage from the arcade, but again, most people didn't get to that anyway. But talk about that the conveyor pie stage. A lot of people didn't even know about that. But look, Donkey Kong, man. The ColecoVision version. Oh,
Yeah.
Alan Stone.
1981. Yeah, Alan Stone. Well, like, with that said, I gotta say, rest in peace, Alan Stone. He passed at the age of 71 due to cancer. All back on, let's see here, earlier last week. And it's a sad day. Like I said, he passed on the 23rd of February. And it's one of those things where you don't realize the type of influence that somebody else, like, possibly states away, has on your life, maybe just your childhood and your life in general. This is one of the things that we have to recognize.
What's very interesting is that a lot of people didn't know about him until he died. As in, Alan Stone's like one of those guys who was the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. You know what I mean? He's those. That was a type of figurehead that he was. Which is
a damn shame.
Yeah. I mean, his name should have been more prominent everywhere else, being what for what he's done. So for my last, I guess I'm very thankful for him, because otherwise the gaming industry wouldn't be, in its current form if it wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows? I mean, he's the one that actually, put Japanese gaming on the Western shores. I mean, he's the one that helped pioneer that. So if it wasn't for him, there would be no Final Fantasy VII, or there would be no, Kingdom Hearts or any of that, because why America doesn't care about gaming, but he, back in the early '80s, he made it happen. So I'm internally grateful for that.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on this one theme? Nope. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To bring this particular one to a close, folks, we're middle-aged guys. We've spent over 90 years between all of us combined gaming. This is a large part of our lives. And whenever we hear about this sort of thing, especially when we can attach a name and a face to our childhood, it really is something very profound for me personally. And I know the team in Grey Mouse feel the same way. Rest in peace, Alan Stone. Condolences to your friends and family. He passed at 71 on February 23rd, 2017 of cancer. Horrible way to go. But you know what? I thank you very much for being a part of my own childhood and building a lot of the passion that I continue forward, that even influences my professional adult life. Mm-hmm. With that, we are the middle-aged guys. No bullshit in this video. We're going to go ahead and bring this to an end here. If there is any thoughts, any memories that you want to go ahead and share with us, folks, leave us a comment below. While you're at it, hit like, hit subscribe. We are more than welcome to go ahead and see your thoughts on it. Maybe they'll spur another conversation.
Yep.
For the middle-aged guys, I am the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I am Grey Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming, Alan Stone, thank you. Rest in peace. Pioneer. Damn. I'm just thinking about what would it have been like if that game never hit these shores. I just want to perish the thought right now. Credits.
In all actuality, that might make for another interesting video. What could have been, what could not have been.